coming up on Focal Point.
Find out how one local family tree farm is giving back to the country's troops.
I'm Treasure Roberts, and today I'm going to talk to you about the lack of funding for special education services in Michigan schools.
Today we reaffirm that no one is above the law.
Plus, Larry Nassar is sentenced to 60 years in prison. Focal Point starts now.
Larry Nassar sentenced to 60 years in federal prison for child pornography crimes. This is one of 3 criminal cases against the former Michigan State University and USA gymnastics doctor who admits to assaulting female gymnasts. Good evening, I'm Chloe Keipel.
And I'm Gabriella Galloway. Nassar learned his fate Thursday, getting 20 years on each of 3 counts, which are to be served consecutively. More than 140 women have accused him of sexual misconduct, including several former Olympic gymnasts. Nassar pleaded guilty in July to 3 federal charges after investigators said he possessed at least 37,000 graphic videos and images of child pornography. Separately, Nassar has pleaded guilty to molesting gymnasts in Ingham and Eaton counties under the guise of treatment. He'll be sentenced in those cases in January. Federal Judge Janet Neff says the 54-year-old should never again have access to children.
As the fallout continues, many are questioning Michigan State's involvement, what they knew and when they knew it.
Focal Point's Katie McCoy speaks to a former gymnast who knows victims and an attorney representing several victims who want the university to take more responsibility. Katie?
Chloe, Gabriella, the gymnast my colleague Christian Barrington and I talked to today is not a victim of Nassar's but was on the gymnastics team. She is hoping for some accountability from Michigan State.
What did USA Gymnastics do and Larry Nassar do to manipulate these girls so much that they are so afraid to speak up?
It's a story that rocked the gymnastics world.
It's the fact that, nobody felt like they could come forward, and even if they did, they were shut down because that's what the norm was.
Former MSU gymnast Holly Ryan says they were told not to say anything about the scandal.
We were taught you're lucky to even see him.
Larry Nassar was the serial pedophile predator that was at the beginning of and at the end of the largest institutional sexual assault scandal in modern history.
Guilty as stated, Your Honor.
Attorney David Middleman represents dozens of victims and thinks there's much more to this story.
Raised who knew what and when.
Middleman thinks Michigan State had to know about Nassar. He compares the fallout to the scandal at Penn State just a few years ago. It was determined the university was aware of Jerry Sandusky abusing young boys at Penn State.
This scandal at MSU right now is already 5 times the size in sheer numbers.
But he says Michigan State is not doing enough. Calls to MSU spokesperson Jason Cody went unanswered. However, many students are concerned with how the administration is handling sexual assault on campus.
I think they have to be more transparent, come out of denial, admit responsibility, become accountable.
They kind of want to divert the attention from MSU.
But the only way Holly Ryan would be satisfied is if the university would be more transparent. Many publications have called for the resignation of President Luana K. Simon. However, the MSU administration has pledged full support behind her. Gabriella, this case has only just begun. More details should unfold in the coming months.
Thanks, Katie. Minnesota Senator Al Franken announced he will be resigning from the U.S. Senate in the wake of multiple sexual harassment allegations against him. The political arena has been plagued by allegations on both sides of the political spectrum, including Michigan Congressman John Conyers' resignation earlier this week in the midst of sexual harassment claims. In Franken's resignation speech, he denied allegations against him and used the platform to take a shot at the commander-in-chief.
I am aware that there is some irony in the fact that I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office, and a man who has repeatedly preyed on young girls campaigns for the Senate with the full support of his party.
Franken did not give an official date on his resignation, but aides said it will be in the next few weeks. Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton will choose a replacement for his seat.
Fires rage on in Southern California, stretching from Los Angeles to San Diego County. Fast-moving flames have scorched more than 160,000 acres. Dry and windy conditions are fueling these flames, and more than 200,000 people have been forced to evacuate their homes. President Trump has declared a state of emergency, ordering additional federal aid.
1 in 7 people are at risk for food insecurity in the Mid-Michigan area, and local food banks like the one at Savior Lutheran Church are working to counter this as the holiday season approaches.
Well, we'll keep it going, I suppose, till all of us die.
Sharon Miller has devoted her life to giving back, something made even more important when her husband died almost 20 years ago.
Our best friends belonged to our Savior Lutheran. And a week after he died, they come and got me and said, "You're going to church with me," and I never left.
Miller and 14 of the churchgoers, now her friends, are giving back in a way that they say keeps them young at heart.
Off the rim, air ball.
The volunteers of Our Savior Lutheran Food Bank provide not only food and clothing, but this time of year, fuel holiday spirit.
You know, it's more than just the meat and food, it's just the atmosphere. A couple of them have come just to talk to Sharon. They don't necessarily want food, they just want somebody to talk to.
This holiday season, not only will people be greeted by smiling faces, but a few extra goodies too.
Christmas cards they get, and they're getting extra bags of candy that's in these bags, and these are toilet paper packs. We always give those out, and they're getting cookies and anything else that we get donated extra that I can give them.
Miller says that there's always an increase of those in need around this time of year, but she says their cause is to make sure everybody is gifted with the holiday spirit.
The Our Savior Lutheran Food Bank has already fed over 8,000 people this year. From Christmas dinner feasts to New Year's celebrations, the holiday season is all about indulging in delicious food. Whether it's an extra slice of pie or a second helping of turkey, some may find it difficult to resist excessive eating habits. We sat down with a nutritionist to learn tips for healthy feasting without taking too much of a toll on your waistline.
Everything in moderation is really good, but you want to make sure when you're looking at the holidays is that you have a wide variety of offerings. So you do have some more nutrient-rich options, some fruits and vegetables when you, especially like holiday parties. So make sure if you're planning the menu, that you've got fruits and vegetables. There's nothing wrong with the cookies and the things that we tend to indulge in.
Special education in Michigan is underfunded by nearly $700 million, and this lack of funding makes it difficult to provide services for children in need. Focal Point's Treasurer Roberts has more on the story.
21-year-old Tim Ashley loves his job.
The job was fun.
His mom, Nancy, never thought he'd be able to hold the job he has today.
Our son, Tim Ashley, was born in 1996. He was diagnosed with Noonan syndrome.
Noonan syndrome affects his cognitive and physical abilities. Nancy Ashley credits Tim's success to the special education programs he receives attending high school. But a recent task force committee determined special education is underfunded by $700 million.
Sweet is this one right here, coming from the sky.
And what that could mean to student education, not only special education, has many concerned.
In East Lansing, we pull about 8% of the special ed fund from general ed to ensure that our students with disabilities are receiving the appropriate services.
The shortfall means local districts, like East Lansing, are taking from the school's general fund to cover the services.
That reduces funding available for extra programming for kids who don't have a disability. It may reduce the pot of money that may be available for teacher salaries and benefits.
The lack of funding for special education services in Michigan schools has some parents concerned about what that could mean for their children in the future.
I can't phantom thinking of taking education opportunities, whether you're special education or a regular student.
And she thinks being more vocal in the school district meetings and lobbying for change can be a start to ending the lack of funding in special education services. In East Lansing, I'm Treasurer Roberts, Focal Point News.
A reason many districts are concerned about the underfunding is because special education programs are state mandated. If schools must pull from the general fund, it could mean fewer programs have more dollars to spend in their deposits.
In October, 4 Lansing Catholic football players kneeled during the national anthem. This has resulted in players transferring schools, high tensions, and video chats with celebrities. Focal Point's Griffin Wasik has more.
4 local students never thought taking a stance would end with a call from one of their idols.
I just got off of Skype with Colin Kaepernick. Any negative comments that are thrown at me, literally it couldn't affect me.
Michael Lynn III, Matthew Abdullah, Kabosh Richards, and Roger Williams created controversy earlier this year when they took a knee during the national anthem at one of their football games. The Lansing Catholic students did it to protest social injustice, and it caught Kaepernick's attention.
Well, he showed me to be courageous, and he showed me to stand up for what I believe in.
Kaepernick came under scrutiny last year when he didn't stand for the national anthem during an NFL game, a protest for what he says is police brutality against young African Americans. This caused a nationwide protest, some saying it was blatant disrespect for the flag, but it also sparked a movement by others, including these 4 students.
I've had people call me the N-word, and we've brought it up to the office. They haven't done anything about it.
Those aren't isolated incidents. They follow a pattern, and that pattern is discrimination because of our skin color, my skin color.
And like Kaepernick, these players didn't escape without problems.
Game time's here, and none of us see the first quarter. That's when I get in on the second quarter, Kabosh gets in on the second quarter, and then Mikey Abdullah ended up getting in after halftime, third quarter.
Abdullah and Lynn III have since transferred to Holt and Lansing Sexton.
Elsewhere, I didn't like it there. I didn't feel safe.
Lansing Catholic administration declined to go on camera, but tells Focal Point players will be benched and suspended for these actions. In Lansing, I'm Griffin Wasik, Focal Point News.
On Tuesday night, Richards was benched for the entire basketball game. Lansing Catholic coach Eric Trojanovic said he did not play because he missed the team bus, not because of the kneeling policy.
Meridian Township has a new interim fire chief. 3 candidates were up for the position, but an internal selection committee chose retired Battalion Chief Lori Schaefer. Schaefer is the first female to hold the position of fire chief in Meridian Township. She previously served 25 years in the township, and she's back to take on this new role. From 1989 to 2014, she worked as a paramedic and firefighter, working her way up to lieutenant, captain, and later battalion chief. Schaefer will serve as the interim chief starting January 1st until June 30th of 2018, when a full-time chief will be hired.
I'm excited to be back. It feels like a homecoming. Great group of people that work for this department, and I'm humbled to know that I get to lead them for the next 6 months in this transitional stage.
Schaefer says the fire department will continue to provide quality service for township residents. She takes over for Fred Cowper, who served as chief for nearly 20 years.
It's the holiday season, and a local tree farm is giving back to troops to spread Christmas cheer.
We go to Macy Krupasevich in the Spartan newsroom to find out what this is all about. Macy?
Gabriella and Chloe, time's running out to find that perfect Christmas tree. But if you haven't found that tree yet, you might want to visit this holiday family farm that's spreading holiday cheer not amongst only each other, but to troops outside of the states that won't be home for Christmas. Christmas bells are ringing.
Welcome to Peacock Road Family Farm, folks.
And this tree farm is getting ready for another busy and exciting weekend.
Yes, I see the people, and it makes them so happy. It's wonderful.
The man who bought the farm in 1985,
and they often call me Farmer Ed,
spreads the holiday spirit to thousands each Christmas season.
We're hauling as many as 9,000 people during the season to go see Santa Claus. That's really cool.
Families see Santa and often leave Farmer Ed's farm with a Christmas tree. But this Christmas, he's asking visitors to give a special gift for those who won't make it home for the holidays. He paired up with Trees for Troops, and visitors can donate a tree to send to a military troop currently serving.
Over the whole nation, about 10,000 trees a year are delivered to different bases. And we're just proud that we were selected to be one of the places to send some trees.
The first truck of Christmas trees headed down to New Orleans last weekend, but the Peacock Family Tree Farm will be collecting Christmas donations all season long. As the team and families prepare for a busy weekend, the farm hopes they appreciate the troops serving.
I think they deserve it. They've done so much for our country. My husband is a veteran, so I can see that. It's wonderful.
Farmer Ed says he wants Christmas to be special for everyone.
I can't tell you how it warms your heart to be a part of people's family Christmas.
Family Christmas that spreads near and far.
There are train treats and more at the Family Tree Farm, which is amazing to experience. Just don't forget this season to give back to the troops, and remember that giving is the reason for the season. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Macy. Such a special story. Next on Focal Point, man's best friend eases the stress of final exams.
Coming up on Focal Point, find out more about athletic doping and how college athletes feel about its usage.
Earlier this week, the International Olympic Committee ruled Russia will be suspended from the 2018 Winter Olympics because of doping. Performance-enhancing drugs have long been a problem in sports, and local athletes here at MSU say the cheat isn't worth the risk. Focal Point's Kayla Robinson talked to some of them about these new allegations.
The Russian Olympic Committee is suspended with immediate effect.
Athletic doping is nothing new for Russia. The country had 2 scandals back in the 2014 and 2016 Olympic Games, and now they are paying the price for their previous actions.
If you have allegations like that against you, I feel that you shouldn't be able to compete.
Doping is the act of illegally using drugs or other substances in order to enhance athletic performance. Even though MSU varsity rower Zach Klusovic says he and his team have never used performance enhancers, he explains why he thinks athletes may feel the need to utilize them.
So I think usually it's athletes that see themselves in a lower tier will start to use things that will boost them up into the next tier.
But he says with hard enough work and a little determination, athletes don't have to go down that path.
If one of our teammates was doing it, I would just be really, really disappointed.
Men's rowing team assistant coach Andrew Leonard says if athletes do use performance-enhancing drugs, it inevitably falls back on the coach.
If you are putting so much pressure and stress on them to perform that they feel the need to go above and beyond the legal methods to get that high performance, then you're failing those athletes.
He agrees. Athletes who cheat should be banned. But those who didn't use performance enhancers shouldn't be punished.
You feel bad for the amount of work and effort that they've put in training their entire lives for this moment and now no longer getting to represent their country.
Clean Russian athletes will be able to participate in the 2018 Winter Olympics, but they will not be able to represent the country of Russia. Instead, they will participate under a neutral status.
Some of them might very well take them up on, and it's great that they will still have that opportunity to compete.
In East Lansing, Kayla Robinson, Focal Point News.
The 2018 Winter Olympics begin Friday, February 9th. MSU students are wrapping up the semester with final projects, holiday parties, and stress relievers.
And a local pizza place shuts its doors. Treasure Roberts joins us from the Spartan Newsroom with those stories and more. Treasure?
A pizza place near campus on Grand River has closed. Lots of Pizza has officially closed down, blaming the Center City construction project. The company said it may open again in 2 years, but the construction has created problems, including no parking, which has contributed to a slowdown in sales. With plenty of pizza around campus, students know they have other options.
It seems pretty nice. Like, it's a nice place, but there's also a lot of other pizza places around, so I think it'll be okay.
Although Latza will retain the property, there's no set completion date for the Center City construction. Latza opened less than a year ago, but about the same time as Blaze, a similar concept pizza place. Some of the newest computer technology we may soon see, big companies like Humana, Amazon, and Ford on display today, designed by Spartans themselves. At the end of every semester, computer science engineering students host Design Day. Students work all semester on client projects. Design Day is a way to present their client projects to employers and companies. Some groups focused on app development, software engineering, and much more. The CSE program created projects for companies like Amazon, Ford, MSU, Bosch, and Humana.
It gives students an opportunity to show what we've been working on and also to present in front of corporate executives, which is something we'd have to do along the road once we actually get a job. And the project throughout the semester is kind of similar to what we'd be doing in an actual workplace as well.
Design Day happens at the end of every semester. It's a pretty important day for the students, as their presentations are their final grades. Finals are approaching, and students are trying to find ways to think about anything but studying. And with the holidays just a couple weeks away, several campus groups collaborated to throw the Mingle Jingle holiday party for students. Students came to eat sweet treats and homemade meals, played some games, and even took on a talent show. Since not everyone is able to go home for the holidays, organizers say it was important to give that feeling of being home.
I think that the holidays is a time where we're supposed to spend with family, and so since we're here in college, our friends become our family. So it's really important for us to get together.
And now that finals week is upon us, a couple furry friends are visiting to help. Students relax a bit and forget about schoolwork, at least for an hour or two. 2 therapy dogs stopped by library to help students take a brief load off from their studies. One was named Sally, who was a golden retriever, and the other's name was Ruger, who was a German shepherd. Dr. Eileen Botswick says 4-year-old Ruger may look like he could be a police dog, but in reality, he's the perfect companion to help students get through this stressful time.
This is his job, and if we're not here at MSU during finals week, we mostly do reading programs at local libraries for little kids. Occasionally he does get overwhelmed, but I know he loves it.
Finals survival events will continue throughout the rest of finals next week. That's what's happening on campus. I'm Treasure Roberts in the Spartan Newsroom. Chloe, Gabriella, back to you.
Thanks, Treasure. A year ago last September, MSU freshman Mitchell Kiefer died in a car accident on I-96 by a distracted driver while heading back to school. Focal Point's Griffin Wasick talks to friends and family to show us how he's being remembered.
I guess it kind of brings tears to your eyes because you remember what a vibrant young man that he was. He loved to have fun.
He graduated in 2016 and was one of the goalies on the state championship hockey team.
I think, you know, if you got to know him even in the least bit, he made you a better person.
And our first idea was actually to build an ice rink on the grounds of Catholic Central.
You know, I wrote on the banner over there, we will always carry on his memory, and I can promise you that through CC Hockey and through what we do as a school and community, that's a promise that I plan on keeping.
We thought that if we could raise money in a way that would honor him, but also spread the message of the dangers of distracted driving, we felt that would be a much better way to honor Mitchell's memory. And that's what we're doing with this rink.
You're at one of the best facilities in the Midwest, if not the country. To be able to partner with USA Hockey means the world to us.
It means a lot to me and my family because this rink also meant a lot to my brother. And now it's being named after him, which is so awesome because he spent a lot of time here and he really loved playing hockey.
Be able to have our sheet of ice where we've played numerous games be named after one of our brothers, it just means the world to us, the team, the Catholic Central community, the Bazillion Fathers, our coaching staff, and anybody who knew Mitchell, so it's extremely special.
I look forward to coming to these things all the time because I think it's so great that I get to see all these people that love Mitchell and they're here to support my family, and it's all my friends and all of Mitchell's friends, and it just makes me feel really close to him, and it makes me feel like we're really doing something to honor him.
The rink named in memory of Kiefer is Detroit Catholic Central's home ice in Plymouth. So far, nearly $1 million has been raised for the Kiefer Foundation to end distracted driving.
The football team is heading to San Diego. They'll face off against Washington State in the Holiday Bowl.
But it's not the bowl game they expected. Griffin Wasick joins us at the sports desk with the latest. Griffin?
That's right, Spartan players are upset with the bowl selection after ending with an impressive 9-3 record. I'll have the details and more coming up on Focal Point. Welcome back to Focal Point. I'm Griffin Wasick with this week's sports. The Michigan State football team finished their bounce-back season with a convincing win at Rutgers, finishing the year at 9-3. The bowl pairings were announced Sunday, and the 16th-ranked Spartans are heading west. MSU accepted an invitation to the Holiday Bowl to play against number 18 Washington State. The Spartans put together a season highlighted by upset victories over Michigan and Penn State, flipping the script from last year's 3-9 record. Many regard the New Year's Day games as the marquee bowls, which had Spartan players upset when learning 8-4 Michigan earned an appearance to the Outback Bowl on January 1st. Head coach Mark D'Antonio gave his thoughts on Sunday as the bowl selections were announced.
Well, I just look at it as an opportunity to play the Holiday Bowl right now, and the records are what they are. I'll just continue to concentrate on beating Michigan and let this thing sort out.
A bit of a feisty answer coming from Coach D'Antonio. Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh responded on Twitter, but that's as far as it's gone. This game is one of just 7 games between top 20 opponents, not including the playoff semifinals. And today, we found people getting ready for the Spartan action. As we inch closer to the Holiday Bowl, we found Spartan fans getting their holiday apparel. Not only are fans shopping for gear, but are getting their tickets for MSU and their game against Washington State. Associate Athletic Director Paul Shager tells us more about this year's demand for Holiday Bowl tickets.
I mean, really the location, the day of the game, all factor into what the demand's going to be. But it's been a great season, and the fact that we went 9-3 this year, people are very excited for the opportunity to win that 10th game in the bowl game. So that's really the best thing that's going for us. Also, the weather. I mean, San Diego, I just got back from San Diego on a site visit. It's beautiful. The weather was great. People were great. So if anybody's on the fence, whether they're thinking about coming out or not, definitely do it.
We are told there are still plenty of tickets available for those of you interested. And with the big game coming up, the marching band is figuring out their own travel plans. The band met this week to go over their itinerary and music. And band director David Thornton discussed travel logistics and practice schedule. Along with the traditional pregame and halftime show, performances will include a battle of the bands and the Holiday Bowl parade. After a long season of performances and practices, the Spartan Marching Band is excited for their trip to Cali. The band leaves December 26th. They will be busy practicing and performing when they arrive, but Director Thornton says he's also planning a little fun. He says he's looking into a trip to the San Diego Zoo. The MSU hockey team traveled to Michigan last night in the opening half of a home-and-home set. The Spartans fell short in this one, losing 4-0 at Yost Ice Arena. Michigan forward Tony Calderone had a hat trick, while the Spartans went 0 for 5 on the power play. With the loss, the Spartans are alone in last place in the Big Ten with 5 points. Coach Danton Cole was unhappy with his team's play as this one got out of hand quickly for his Spartans.
I thought we were okay for about 5 minutes, and then after that, I didn't really like much of the game. I think Michigan outplayed us in most years, especially skating and being ahead of the play. So, if we don't skate better than that, we don't have a chance against anyone, let alone Michigan.
The in-state rivals met again tonight, this time at Munn Ice Arena. The Spartans came out with the win, 5-0. With the Big Ten men's basketball tournament moving to Madison Square Garden in New York, this year's conference season ends 1 week earlier than normal. This has forced Big Ten teams to play 2 conference games in early December before getting back to the regular season slew of non-conference opponents. MSU defeated Nebraska last Sunday and beat Rutgers 62-52 on Tuesday.
So we found a way to win, and I guess that's what good teams do. They find a way to win even when they don't play good. It's a shame because Miles looked more like Miles.
Any team at any time is gonna play their absolute best, especially against us. And I really appreciate the home crowd a lot more. I really do.
The Spartans now play at home for 6 of the next 7 games. Southern Utah comes to East Lansing tomorrow night. The women's team also in action this week as they travel to third-ranked Notre Dame on Wednesday. The Spartans lost 90-59 to the Fighting Irish as they were never in this one from the start. The Spartans were down 23-9 after the first quarter and 47-18 at halftime. Junior center Jenna Allen had a career-high 28 points and made 3 of 4 threes, but it wasn't enough. Head coach Susie Merchant talks about the importance of starting games well.
You can't get down like that. I mean, I know we're playing 2 of the best teams in the country, I get that, but we don't play very well together right now. We have a real chemistry issue, a bunch of individuals out there. And
the Spartan women also play tomorrow right before the men's team as they take on Rhode Island. Michigan State volleyball is headed to the Elite 8 after today's 4-set win against Illinois. The Spartans won 25-23, 18-25, 25-17, and 29-27 in a thrilling 4th set. It's the Spartans' first Elite 8 appearance since 1996. They face top-ranked Penn State tomorrow for a trip to the Final Four. The match is set to begin at 8 p.m. And that's what's happening in sports. I'm Griffin Wasik. Chloe, back to you.
Thanks, Griffin. And finally tonight, it's time for the annual Festival of Trees at the Turner Dodge House in Lansing. Embracing the holiday spirit, all 3 floors of the home are decked out with more than 50 trees ranging in all different colors, shapes, and sizes. Guided tours will take place up until December 28th. It's open Tuesday through Sunday. Monies raised from the $5 admission fee go towards projects to preserve and enhance the historic Turner Dodge House. I love the smell of Christmas. Those pine trees really get you in the holiday spirit.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the holidays to be coming up.
Absolutely. Well, that's our show for tonight. As the semester ends, we'd like to thank you for joining us.
We look forward to returning after Christmas break. We now leave you with the MSU Concert Orchestra performing Sleigh Ride. Good night.